morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However, you happen to be watching this, I want to welcome you to the Gaming Circle podcast.
Or
The
listening.
po- or listening, yes, that's right. The podcast where this morning some of us are still not on cam yet because it's still too early this morning. And by the sound of my quality of my headphones, you can still tell that I may still be under construction, but we're still getting this show started. So we appreciate everybody who happens to be pulling up. And I see the usual suspects are in the chat. Oh, I see the man Gaz from Game On Daily
Yes,
is already on here.
sir.
Wow,
And I
I
see the
feel blessed
Sonic
this
hater
morning.
himself, J-Mo Money, Gerald Mack in the building.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Of course, I am your host, Mr. K. Asante. You can find me in all the places that you're looking for me in the gaming space. And I am, of course, as usual, joined by my brother from another mother, the man who is vindicated this week because, by all accounts, Sonic 2 sounds pretty good. Mr. Everborn Saga, what's going on, man?
I'm going to come on the camera just to say you're goddamn right. I would have seen it Thursday, but family and stuff. So I had to wait because of the kids to see it this weekend. But I'm actually, when we're done today, I'm going to go to my dog training because I have 3 animals. And I mean that in the worst sense of the word.
Yeah.
And then we are all going out to see Sonic 2.
Oh, so have you seen it yet or not yet?
No, not yet. I couldn't.
Okay.
I mean, I could have went without the fam, but that would have been poor form.
Poor form on your part. Yeah,
I never would have.
I actually planned, believe it or not, today at 3:00, 3 in this afternoon. I plan on going to see it with my daughter. So I probably will see it before you do. So there you go, there, player. That's right.
Just like the Steam Deck, right?
Oh, yeah. By the way, speaking of the Steam Deck, don't mean to derail, but if you see your boy just kind of turn the cam off and peace out real quick, it's because it's at the front of the door. It's that close.
Are we doing a live unboxing if it comes? I think we should.
If it shows up like within the hour as we're podcasting, of course we'll do a live unboxing. Why the heck not, folks? Like you're here for it.
Those sky crane
overhead cams.
Look down at the desk.
Overhead cams. As we're renovating the house and we're making the lights bright and the home look all podcast worthy, if you will. Now that idea has come into mind, maybe I should set up a station for unboxings with an overhead cam and all of this.
After the renovation, you should start your own reality show on your YouTube channel. Just hire a camera crew, follow you around, watch all the shenanigans with you and the kids and the missus.
So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show as he derails and turns ridiculous on me.
While you do that, while you do your intros, I'm going to go back off camera so I can stuff my face with this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go stuff your face this morning. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, yes. No, go ahead.
But
yes, no worries. So I just want to thank everybody that has tuned into the show. We are getting a lot more followers online, as well as the listenership is getting really large. So we really appreciate that. Folks have been tuning in and listening in. So we appreciate you guys for using your favorite podcast services of choice and whatnot to tune into the show maybe a little later. So thank you guys so much for doing so. I should be a bit more rigorous about actually mentioning that on the show more. I haven't even been promoting that at all, and still the listenership has been growing, so thank you guys so very much.
Also hit the like button.
Oh, yes. And as the man has said, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It seems like we're heading in the right path, so please help us join. Yes, we're almost at 500 subscribers, so thank you so much there, Gabo. Thank you for joining us. And as we said in the promotion to this, we were going to also be joined for this Tech Talk conversation by Mr. Pixelbit G. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pixelbit G. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sirs.
How you guys doing? How are you today?
The myth, the legend, the one who does not fools lightly. Pixelbit G.
Oh, boy.
The nightmare.
He's out there.
The nightmare. Haunting and stalking your tweets.
He's out there on the Twitter streets.
All the smoke.
Bringer of smoke.
Bringer of smoke, indeed. Oh my goodness, this man. Anyway, So you know what? Let's start this show. And of course, everybody knows Pixel Bit G. If you've been in the show, if you've been watching the show either live or on demand, you've seen him. He's been either in certain instances a member of our panel, or he's also been in our chat just hanging out. So we appreciate him being here and very knowledgeable a technologist in his own right, as you will come to find out as this episode matures. But let us start this episode as we always do with some games that we have been playing. And I will start. Well, you know what? I will start this time with myself because I know that Mr. Everborn is still stuffing his face, and I'm sure that he will tell you this will derail into the Elden Ring podcast for another 20 minutes, which we're not trying to get there. We're not trying to go that far this time. But you know what? Let me pull an audible. Actually, Pixel Bit G. Good sir. I know you love to dabble in all sorts of gaming habits in all sorts of platforms. What game has been keeping you busy? And please don't say it's Elden Ring all day, every day. Please. Come
No,
on now.
no, it is not Elden Ring. I have
Oh,
been
fantastic.
enjoying some Weird West
Oh, there you go. There you
and
go.
enjoying some Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
So I've been
Zero Dawn or Forbidden
sorry,
West?
Forbidden West, Forbidden
Oh,
West,
Forbidden West. Okay, Forbidden
and
West. Okay.
jumping back and forth between those two games
Hmm.
with the limited time that I've had to play this week. But
Hey.
really enjoying this Weird West. It is an
Uh-huh.
interesting title.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the folks who are on audio I will note for you that I am showing a bit of visuals of that on the screen now. It's kind of like a twin stick shooter, offset cam, very strategic, stealthy kind of thing. What do you think of it so far? How far have you gotten into it, Pixel?
I don't know how many hours I'm in. I'm probably I've gotten past like one of the first major main missions, or maybe two of them. Um, the stealth mechanics are very interesting. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to approach these battles with stealth, which is interesting. So it's like the combat is a lot deeper than you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like flow, it kind of feels like Wasteland 3 a little bit at times, right? At least with the isometric view and the way that the game is set up. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're actually engaging in combat, they have that kind of it's real time combat with a mix of stealth plus like a ducking mechanic, so you can hide behind objects and stuff, which is totally necessary in order to
Mm-hmm.
win in these fights. And then there's
Yeah.
like random events that happens in the world. So like I'm just getting in, but it's like it's deep, and the story is actually pretty good. So I'm like, yeah, they got to hit on this here. It's good enough that
Mm-hmm.
I got it on Game Pass and immediately purchased it. So
Yeah, there are some games that you just got to do that with, right?
I did
Tunic
it with
being one
Tunic.
for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Me
yep,
too. There you
same
go.
with
Yeah,
Tunic. Same with Tunic, yep.
yeah.
So
Very
I
good. Very
know
That
good.
was
when I run into a game that just hits me, I'm like, man, let me just go ahead and buy it. You get the
Mm,
discount anyway, so let me just go grab it, right?
awesome.
Tunic for me was more about I
Support the
know I know
devs.
there's a meme like support the devs, right?
Yeah,
But it's
I knew he was
one
gonna go
guy,
there.
right? Like I'm not
Hmm.
out here like these, multi-billion-dollar corporations. I gotta
Yeah.
support these crooked publishers because
Uh-huh.
reasons, right? It's one
Hmm.
dude. You want to support, things like that. So
No, no, you're absolutely right. One guy who was making the game even before Finji became part of Finji development publishing. One dude for like 6 years. It's amazing. And by the way, if you guys haven't played Tunic, I keep saying this. Tunic has become a casualty of Elden Ring because that game is so special. It's packed with secrets. It is old school like gaming at its finest, and with a new school flair. But no one's paying it the attention I think it deserves because Elden Ring has sucked up all the gaming energy from everywhere for now. And
that
by
and
the time
Death's
people
Door,
discover it,
the
that
Death's
and
Door
Death's Door, yeah, the Death's Door factor is real. But I do still think that for the time being, for today, it's because Elden Ring is still just everywhere. It's everywhere. Everywhere you want to talk about games,
Yeah,
they're
but I
talking
think
Elden.
this is Tunic is different enough from Death's Door that they don't really feel similar in design to me.
But see, the problem is Tunic, while Tunic feels different from Death's Door, it's also similar in the worst ways to Elden Ring.
Okay.
I
right?
just don't think I don't think people are gonna make that connection, man.
Really?
Well,
No,
not
they weren't
visually,
gonna
but it's
compare it
hard,
to
right?
sites of grace.
No, I get it. I
You know,
understand that.
there's such repeat
I'm not.
mechanics left
I'm
and
not
right. You
saying
know,
you're wrong. I'm just saying most people aren't gonna make that connection,
yeah,
right? And you are correct, Pixel. Like Tunic, it is more Tunic for me. Everything is about those secrets, right? Where
yeah,
Death's Door, it was about like kind of can I beat these bosses, right? Like it was less about, not that there weren't secrets in there, but it was way less about finding secrets hidden within the map than Tunic is, and that's how I look at Tunic. I have a little bit of issues with the combat, not that it's bad, but that it
the
could be,
stamina based stuff.
yeah, it could be
Yeah,
tuned a little more, and I'm not going to turn it off,
no.
at least not admittedly. But I'm not going to turn off the stamina
Liar.
bar. But I just think that it could be tweaked slightly, and then they could
Mm.
be at that kind of greatness level.
So before we continue, let me acknowledge some of the folks in the chat that have blessed us with their company
Gabe
this
O and
morning.
Beast Mode,
We see Beast Mode, we see Gabe O in there,
Rock
and
88,
and JMO Money.
Pragmatic
Yes,
Eagle.
JMO Money. Yes, you are absolutely correct. I do sound like I'm talking to you from a pop cam, because that's what this is. It's a ridiculous headset. It's absolutely terrible. But unfortunately, I'm in a construction zone for the next couple of weeks, so
Is it
I
Gaz's
promise you that.
birthday?
Oh, would you stop the Gaz's birthday stuff? But happy birthday, Gaz! Congratulations, sir. You know, I hear every day is your birthday
He's
these
got to be
days.
almost 1,000 years old now.
I'm saying, look, and he might not be as upset about it if every time somebody says, "Hey, it's Gaz's birthday," somebody like sends him a gift. Like, let's see how many gifts he can accrue with this joke. By then, I think he'd be happy at some point, because I've heard his birthday spoken every day of the week this week so far. Whenever you listen to a podcast, but anyway. I see Beast Mode in there, a bunch of folks. Oh, and Gerald Mack, thank you, good sir, for being here. Thank you so much for pulling up. We've been trying to connect on Oculus, and I call it Oculus, sir. My mama called him Oculus. I'm gonna call him Oculus. Screw that meta stuff. Forgive me. Sorry, Cog. But yes, he's looking for players for contractors. I know that contractors got him deep. For those who aren't aware, it is the VR version of, say, your Call of Duties or take your tactical shooter, but VR. So all of that stuff is real. With it's really cool. Needless to say, he's been getting into it. I've been trying to connect with him, but for some reason we can't find each other online. Like his user ID doesn't pull up in my search for friends thing. But it's weird. Anyway, if you have a chance to find this man and play some games, I've been actually looking forward to connecting with you. Victor Alistine, I see you in there as well. Good morning, good morning. Gaz says, it's not my birthday.
I don't believe you.
So, Everborn Saga, what have you been playing as of
I
late?
have not, okay. So this week I have not had a lot of time to game. Just there's a crazy amount of things going on at work, and my whole team quit. So
What
fun
did you
time.
do?
What?
What did you do?
It's not
Huh?
okay. Okay.
See, it's like I can imagine this. I can imagine this movie where he is the head chef and he has a bunch of sous chefs around him, and he's just like he's such a bad manager that they all like drop the plates and run, and now
No,
he has to cook it for everybody.
okay. So I don't want to get into too many specifics, but
I'm just messing
Mr.
with you, man.
Pixel, we have a lot of resources offshore,
Mm-hmm.
and they come from a vendor, and there's a new vendor in town that's paying a lot more money.
Oh yeah, so they're poaching your people.
Yes.
Okay.
And so people are leaving, and then everybody's bringing their friends. And so now I led a team of 4, and there's one of them left, and he is leaving in May. So the work of 5 people is now being done by 2, soon to be 1. And it's hard for them to bring anybody else because the new vendor is paying so much. So fun times. That's work.
Mm-hmm.
After work, my dad and my son and I.
Oh yeah. You guys are building a deck. That's right. I remember y'all in a construction zone as well. I forget.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed.
So, but it doesn't.
Indeed.
The deck is only the beginning. Like we had to build a retaining wall, and then we had to frame it up, and now we're putting down the Trex decking, seamless, no screws, hidden away screws. For those who know, right?
Here we go.
and then
Uh-huh.
we're building the gazebo, then the outdoor kitchen, then the 6-person spa jacuzzi. So it's a whole thing. So,
and I mean, New York has like what, a month of sunlight, like of sun, and you
hey,
building
man, that's what they make outdoor heaters for.
Indeed.
And
Go
with
ahead.
the money we're spending, I promise you, I will be using this in January.
You're damn right you will.
But so between all of that, the time that I did get to game, it was Elden Ring, and I've decided to hold off any more on Tunic because I don't feel like I'm giving it my full attention.
It's not getting respected. I'm telling you.
Elden Ring. I'm still stuck on the Fire Giant level 165, and I can get him to his second form. And now I found a trick.
Oh.
If you have Swarm of Flies, which requires 20 arcane, and I'm a melee build.
You see how? So here we go.
No, I'm not going to take too long. I promise.
Go ahead.
So if you have Swarm of Flies, which I think you get it from beating Maug or someone like that, when you so I have the Swarm of Flies, but I can't use it because you need Arcane 20. I've never upgraded Arcane because I'm a melee build full. So I have to upgrade that to level 20, but you can cheese the Swarm of Flies because it causes, 2 of them will cause a blood loss or blood clot. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, where they keep bleeding after you hit them.
Right, and he loses a lot of life, and he walks right into it in his second form. And it's easy for me to get him to the second form. So basically, you can just like delete him if you hit him with the Swarm of Flies. So now I have to level up my Arcane so that I can use the Swarm of Flies and take him out.
See, and this is why Tunic stands no chance. People start talking Elden Ring, it almost sounds like they're talking a different language.
Yeah, it's the meta is just too deep, man.
That's right. That's the problem. See, and Tunic was hoping it was going to get you because it has a separate language it wants you to learn and everything. People are like, I don't understand this. Let's go back to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Elden Ring tells you nothing.
Who tells you absolutely nothing? Exactly. Just as obtuse. Anyway, so real quick.
Last Elden Ring.
Go ahead.
I heard our good buddy Sycamore. You know Sycamore.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
He was saying you really don't understand the story of Elden Ring till your second playthrough. And I'm like, what kind of BS is that?
But you know what, though? As a guy who's been playing Elden Ring just on and off, I have to say what people have been telling me about the story is quite interesting. Like I was listening to Mr. Boomstick talk about it. The story is more interesting than it appears from jump, and he is now like completely on the other side of it, thinking that this is one of the best stories he's played through in all of this, even though he was with us when saying Elden Ring, the way that Elden Ring story was being doled out in the beginning, that it was very, very difficult to follow. So there might be, I will fully admit that there might be a place within the gameplay where it opens up for you and you potentially see what they're trying to say. And many of the folks that we know and trust are on that other side of it. So hey, it might just be me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it
happens after you beat the Fire Giant. I don't know.
Hey, maybe it happens if you don't spend most of the game farming your levels and you actually play it regularly.
Well, I need to be less trash because I think that farming is what makes the game fun.
Well, there you go.
I haven't gotten quite to the fun yet, so just hearing everyone say how far he's got. And Boom as well. It's like, yo. These guys are really enjoying themselves.
Exactly.
I'm scared to go out the house. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
That's the reason to farm. Like once you start farming, you become more powerful, and you're not creeping around anymore, and you can actually move around the world and actually explore
and do
without getting one shot.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's just one of those situations where
podcast episode.
You see, it keeps coming back. All right. This week, what I have been playing, Weird West, you saw a little bit of footage of that, and it's actually kind of funny because I should be showing a lot more footage, but I am not showing that because, first off, as I've said before, I live in a construction zone, but I have an X screen right here. But of course, this is where I bring up the fact that Xbox's capturing system is a little trash, so I haven't been
A
able to capture
little.
all the gameplay. Well, I'm being a little bit diplomatic about it.
Okay.
It is a lot of trash, but I should be
Yeah.
showing you guys a bunch of footage of the believe it or not, the Skywalker Saga. I have been playing the Lego Skywalker Saga almost all week. It's because it's something you can play with the kids, introduce the kids to Star Wars. It's been pretty darn fun. I really like the game. I like what they've done, and believe it or not, it is like technically beautiful. Like
It
uh,
is.
the,
It
they've
is.
taken the Legos, the textures of the Legos, and really brought them to life. And I'm playing on the Series S with a what is it? I think a 7 or 9 inch. Well, no, actually, it's 11 inch X screen. 1080p, 60 frames per second, and it's absolutely beautiful. Like I haven't been able to plug it into the OLED and all that. I'm sure that will really take it up a notch, but it's a very interesting game. Like so, I would recommend if anybody is a Star Wars fan and you have kids and you don't know when to introduce them to it, this is the game to do it with. It's very cool. It's fun. You can play multiplayer. The only problem with the multiplayer that I do believe does deserve some righteous smoke is that the multiplayer is only couch, which is fun. Most folks don't even do couch co-op anymore, but this is couch without the online component. And in a COVID world, having a game that has only couch is kind of a little difficult, a little hard to swallow at this point. I wish that they had. I hope it comes in a later patch, but they don't tend to do that in the Lego games. This time around,
Oh,
it kind of
wait.
hurts. You feel it.
Sorry, Mr. K. Sante.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
J-Mo Money, that's not a controversial statement. It's just a
Oh,
matter of fact.
what's a controversial statement?
You can look at his last comment.
Oh, I enjoyed Star Trek more than Star Wars.
Yeah. What?
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that the
fine.
case for normal
Yeah,
people?
yeah, that's fine. And I
Not
mean,
12-year-olds?
and for the record, the reason why I like the Star Wars, the Skywalker saga as much as I do, and I do enjoy them, it's fun, dumb, nostalgia. Hey, remember this scene and how serious it was? How funny and goofy did they make it? Oh, they made it this funny and goofy, while introducing it to your kids and all of that. It's not like,
How
Shakespearean
about
lore.
all of Star Wars is funny and goofy?
Well, that's a whole different conversation. That's a whole on the
Like, let's
real
just
type
call Star
Don't
conversation.
Wars
say
what it
that.
is.
Don't say
Muppets
that
in
to the Star Wars
space.
fans.
I
Don't
was
say
about
that
to
to the
say,
fans.
I was about to say that's a fight we want to have on the real and not during the Gaming Circle podcast because
Okay,
I will
that's what I
say,
said. Star Wars is Muppets in space. That's it. It's
but
not
yes,
that deep.
no, but this game specifically makes it really like it loses all of its depth at all completely. But where it loses it in the storyline, it seems to gain it in the quality of presentation. It's very beautiful. Like obviously, there's no like ray tracing and this and that, but the screen space reflections and things like that really fool
They
you. They're
make it very
very
well,
very good.
and the
Yeah.
texture work on the environments are
Hmm.
very good. I've been playing with my 3-year-old. He
Awesome.
has,
Awesome.
commanded that I join him in the sessions. But
Very
yeah,
cool.
it's a very good looking game.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good.
beautiful. It's beautiful. I found myself playing it with my kids far more than almost anything else this week. I didn't play as much Tunic because of it. It's a very fun game, and I've been having a great time with
Yeah,
it. But
Tunic is not a game you can give to the kids.
no, it's a very deceptive
It
game in
looks
that,
like it
right?
is.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
very deceptive. You
it's
hand it
kind
to
of up there
them.
with Cupheads of the world, right?
Exactly. So that game I tend to want to play in short spurts, possibly when everybody's asleep or whatever. That's when I'll hang out with the fox. But usually, because the kids want to play it, but then as soon as my daughter like starts playing it for a little bit and she comes across her first boss of her first like enemy and unrelenting pain and then all of a sudden the whole story changes and it becomes a difficult
You
situation.
should
So.
use that as a teachable moment. You're like, look, honey, this is what life is like.
This is what life is like. Everything looks cute until they bang you across the head until you die. No, I'm just saying. That's anyway, so all right, that's the games we've been playing. You know what? I think this and
You could
those who
let her
watch
play
the
on
show.
invincibility mode, though.
True,
Jokes aside.
true, very true. Very true. And that is a thing that I think Ratchet and Clank, I let her play on invincibility mode and she loved it. She plays it all the time
Okay,
whenever
Sante
possible.
says to his daughter, invincibility mode is for suckers.
It's get good,
Okay,
son. That's all I got to tell you,
exactly.
though. No, okay.
We're not
So
soft in this house, boy.
let's switch to some gaming news. All right. So as I always say with these in this on this show, I'm trying to keep it short. We're trying to keep it a brisk 2 hours. Last week we were lucky enough we were able to get it 2:30. Let's see how close to 2 hours we get it this time. So let's switch to some gaming news. And before we get full fledged into the gaming news, I have to get on a quick bit of a soapbox because this happened early this week, and I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. And for one reason or another, I feel the need to comment on it, and I want your opinion on this situation. But before I do, I will say thank you, folks who are watching. More folks are joining us. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. We really appreciate it. Any feedback, criticism, constructive or otherwise, please put it in the comment section. I read every single one and I reply to all of them. So thank you guys again for checking us out. So back to the soapbox that I will get on for a quick moment. People got it in their heads this morning, this early this week, that for some reason, and I don't know if you saw this, Mr. Everborn Saga, that for some reason, all of a sudden, overnight, Microsoft had removed the 12-month subscription cards or 12-month subscription
I did see
options.
this.
You did? They'd remove the 12-month subscription option from their offerings, and all of a sudden, hey, why is it that PlayStation gets some smoke for their bad offerings, but Xbox quietly removed this for their 12-month cards, and no one's giving them smoke for it? Like, people were up in arms, tearing things apart. Clutches, pearls were clutched. It was a whole thing. Even people that I communicate with frequently on Twitter, who we have a great rapport back and forth. I like talking to knowledgeable people. Even some people were online, espousing, "Hey, this is terrible," without knowing the details of it. Now, before I continue and I let my co-panelists speak here, let's just be absolutely clear. Did Xbox remove the 12-month cards? Yes, they did. When did they do this? 2020. That's when they did this.
Yep.
Okay. And then a short few weeks into 2021, they tried to remove it from everywhere, which means they tried to remove the discount because remember, if you do 12 months, it's at a discounted rate. They tried to remove it from everywhere, which would effectively rise the price of Xbox Live. We famously remember the uproar that happened there. And then what did they do? They went, "Oh, mea culpa, we're sorry, we'll put it back." What they did then in 2021 was they put the 12-month card back in third-party retail stores only. So then you could get that card again, but at your Best Buy, at your GameStop, at your Amazon, all those Targets, all your various third-party vendors had those 12-month cards that you could purchase. They never put it back to their first-party vendors and offerings, meaning you couldn't go online to Xbox.com or on your Xbox itself and then all of a sudden see a 12-month option again. It was only 3 month, 3 month, 3 month since 2020. But for some reason, people woke up on Monday and realized that 12-month option was gone since 2020 and decided that last Monday, was the time to get up in arms
They
and
didn't
clutch
wake up
pearls
and
about it.
realize nothing. They were reaching. It was a Stretch Armstrong day.
Please, 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 Mr. Pixel Bit G, expound on that a little some more, because
So
I was surprised that this was a
when I
thing. Please
saw
go
this
ahead.
uproar, I was really confused. I'm like, wait, did they not do this 2 years ago? Right?
Mm,
I'm looking. I'm trying to find information. I'm asking people because I don't want to blow up on anybody just yet. I just want to find out what's going on. So I'm like, yo, didn't they change this a while back? So somebody finally posted that, yeah, it was changed a long time.
hmm
So then I'm like, so you guys were basically, somebody had to be looking for a reason to have something negative to say about Xbox, right? I mean, it's a I like to say there's a conspiracy every week, right? With this system.
Yeah.
Somebody needs a narrative. That's been like 3 years running, or maybe more, right? You need a narrative every week. So this was the new narrative, and I'm like, I think somebody showed that they had cards, but it's been removed from the digital store for forever. And I'm like, none of us who are on Twitter talking about this crap are like, most of us are grandfathered in, right? Most of us got a $1 deal years ago. Some of us, in my case, it's run out. But it's like, this is not a new thing. So like, why are we trying to play like, the pricing has changed?
Let's
right?
call this what it is, Pixel, and because we all really know where this is coming from. The people that were screaming about this were the ones that were pretending the new PlayStation Plus offering was a good deal, and they want to do a whataboutism to say, look, Xbox is bad too, so don't worry about the deal that you're not getting for
Well,
PlayStation
you
Plus.
know what though, Ebon, just to push back a little, maybe you are absolutely right. That's how it most likely started. But the reason, and if that's
I'm just
all
looking at the
that,
people who were
well,
actually complaining about it
but hold
versus
on. If that's
the
all
same
that,
people who
if
leaked it.
that's all the people that I heard that was complaining about it, I wouldn't have brought this up. It's the fact that I did hear people in my mentions, people who are usually not carnival barkers, where this information trickled down far enough to where they went, people were going, really? They did this like today? Why did nobody talk about it? Like it was actually permeating
But
out of the fringe. And that's
how
what I
did
thought was
that
surprising.
start is what I'm saying. Like, why did people
Oh,
get
no.
that
And you
idea?
may
Yeah,
very well be
it was
right.
definitely triggered by the special short bus crew. I mean, it's what they do, right?
Welcome, Mr. Joanna Dark. This man, and shout out to Joanna Dark. This man had like, what was it, a 7 day Xbox headquarters tour with all of his Xbox swag. It was absolutely fantastic and fabulous. Every day was new swag, new Xbox location. My timeline was richer for your presence there, Mr. Joanna Dark. Welcome, welcome. But no, yes, I agree with you. It seems like it started from the fringes, but I'm just surprised that it permeated to the more popular mainstream audience. And I guess
Because
I'm
that's
bringing
what
this
people
up.
thought was true. That's the
True,
way it was
exactly,
pitched by the way
exactly,
by
exactly.
you know that
Yeah.
crowd. Now, one other thing I do want to say though, right?
Go ahead.
Can we all agree that Xbox Live is ridiculous and they should kill the fee for online gaming and auto convert everyone that is subscribed to Gold right now to Game Pass, and they
They should
can
do
either
exactly that.
renew, or if they don't want to renew, they can still game online for free.
Yeah,
That
they should
seems like
they
the
should
easiest
definitely do
path.
that. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. That is what you're
It's
describing there. That is
overdue.
the
Yeah.
absolute best way to do it. They should kill Xbox Live officially, and everyone who's silver just becomes normal Xbox users. Everyone who's gold becomes Game Pass.
Right.
That's
And
it.
you shouldn't have to pay for online gaming anymore.
And no more online. That's right.
And I
And
think
that would overnight turn Game Pass numbers just like PlayStation kind of fudged the numbers, combining
No,
one
not
subscription to
kind of,
another.
not kind of, a lot of.
you
See,
know,
if you
boosting them. That
yeah,
would boost Game Pass like overnight into the stratosphere as well.
yeah. I
so.
mean, if you're not trying to fudge the numbers, you make the service PS Plus, right? PS Plus is the current service, right? If you're not
That's
trying to
right.
fudge the numbers, you make it PS Plus. You roll PS Now with its measly 3.2 million over like 10 years into PS
Hmm.
Plus. But when you want to fudge the numbers, you change the name to PS Now and make it seem
Mm.
like it's another way around. I think at some point Microsoft has to address it and get rid of Live, the same way that you guys agree, right? It's just,
Yeah, I think
you
so.
don't need the service anymore. The problem is they have to open up the online services to just be part of the system, without a fee. And I
I
think
think
there's money involved, which is why they're not doing that yet.
but I
But I
think
could
there's
have sworn they said they were, right?
well, I mean, that was the rumor, but they never officially said it.
They
But
never said it. Okay.
I think there's a number, like a magic number for them in terms of Game Pass subs, to where they can, reasonably, to the financial bean counter, say we're going to kill this service that makes us,
Well, but Everborn,
a
based on
ton of
what you're
money.
saying there, right? Like what you just described there, if they did that and in adding it to Game Pass, that would automatically keep the subscription numbers, right? It would keep they would most likely have to, like, what is the cheapest Xbox Live tier?
$10,
Yeah, Xbox Live, which is the same as Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
right?
same as
which
Game
is
Pass.
which is not a mistake, but a lot of
Exactly.
people buy it yearly. Now, one other thing I should point out, and not to make this about the PlayStation Plus subscription, but subscriptions as a whole, when you offer a yearly option, that's because you're concerned about attrition,
Yeah, of
right?
course. Yeah.
And Game Pass doesn't really have a yearly option because they figure the service is good enough that you won't leave.
Mhm.
PlayStation Plus, on the other hand, let's just say
No,
they don't
I see.
offer.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Usually,
Let's just say
if
they're
you
trying
look
to
at
coerce you into getting it a year.
if
or
you
a year.
look at gaming, if you look at like subscription services for TV subscription services, for instance, whenever they start fresh, like your Disney Pluses, like your Paramount Pluses, like all those various new services, then you will see that yearly option because, like Everborn is saying, they want to keep you, and they know that they don't have anything in the short term coming that they can confidently keep by saying that. So they throw promises at you and they give you a discount on that yearly rate, right? But once they get confident, then it becomes a we don't need you need us type situation, and the yearly subscription option goes away, right? I do still think that it would have been nice that Microsoft offers some kind of yearly option, even if it's a small, teeny tiny, because they are amenable to that kind of strategy. They have been doing so in various other aspects of their business. But I do agree that if you want to take Phil Spencer from an earnest perspective, from basically what he's saying, he wants the service to live and die based on people's liking of it. So if you don't offer that option, you start seeing attrition happen quickly, and that tells you there's a problem, right? Versus keeping them and artificially inflating the numbers because a lot of people subscribe to the year just to keep the costs approachable to them. So
I think
no.
there's another way to look at it too, right? I mean,
Mhm.
the yearly subscription that PS Now has is at a greatly reduced cost,
Mhm.
which tells me that's what the service is actually worth. not the
Yeah, that's
not the
true.
inflated number that you're trying to give
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
That yearly number is what the service is actually worth, right? Microsoft is saying our service is actually worth more, right?
Yeah,
We're
that's
doing
true.
more, especially at the
Yep.
ultimate tier.
Yep.
And if you look in the chat, like Cybernox also notes that they're still making money on gold, right? Even like I don't know how many of you guys are on Ultimate because I'm on Ultimate, right? Because I want to have
Yep.
both services, but the majority of users are probably just on Game Pass, not on
Mhm.
Ultimate, so they're
Mhm.
still getting that gold money. But I agree. I think at some point you just roll it in,
They
but
should roll it
I
in. Yeah.
say roll it in and get rid of those 2 free games, right? Because you have Game Pass, you don't need those 2 free games anymore.
Yeah. They should switch it up, switch it around, and then focus all that energy because those 2 free games usually end up being insulting anyway. They tend to
Yeah,
be
they're trash at
low
this point now
low
anyway.
tier
So
games anyway. Yeah. Beast
yeah,
Mode
so
here. I put it on the screen. Beast Mode makes a very interesting point that when they merge Battle.net and Xbox, the end of the Xbox app, that's when you'll see the numbers surge. Because Battle.net has a huge dedicated loyal following, and those numbers are massive, right? It seems that Battle.net went the way of Steam and built it, and built it really strongly, and now, nobody wants to get away from it. And yeah, it is a free service, Battle, but Battle.net's free service goes with your World of Warcrafts, among other things. So that should inflate the numbers in the places that they want them inflated. But let us move on from this topic because
Battle.net is only Activision stuff, right? They
yes,
don't
but
have
remember,
other.
they are approachable to it because at some point they put Destiny 2 in it for a while, right?
Okay.
Until Activision and them divorced, right? And I think even at some point, am I wrong, or was there a version of Call of Duty on there at some point? There
No,
were
Call
other
of
third
Duty's there
parties on
now.
there.
You can buy Call of Duty on there, but Battle.net is
Yeah,
Activision's store.
yeah,
So
no,
what
that's
was
my
the
point.
last number on Wild? I think they had like 26 million subs per year, something like that.
Something like
So they
that,
were
yeah.
doing pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So I can't have Mr. Pixelbit G in here with my man Everborn Saga and not talk about the Halo drop that happened this week. I know that Everborn, you're not really well versed on what's new. Pixel, did you hear what's happening here? Are you well versed, or are we learning all this for the first time together?
I have absorbed it just a little bit, but
Okay.
I'm not deeply engrossed in it. But I do see there's new modes.
Yeah.
They are talking about splitting up armor sets, to do the mix and match, which is a nice touch.
Yep.
And I think there's supposed to be some like new maps as well.
Yep. New maps, new modes, different armor sets coming up, a new battle pass. And to my understanding, like they have a new system now where when you buy your battle pass, and this is to my understanding how this was described to me. When you buy the battle pass, you earn up to 1,000 credit with that battle pass, and theoretically you can bank that battle pass, that 1,000 credits, to then pay for a future battle pass. So it's like once you buy it once, as long as you play through the entire battle pass and accrue all of the potential credit that you are owed, all 1,000 of it, you can then apply it to the next month and the next month after that and keep doing that. So you'll never have to really buy another battle pass as long as you keep playing through the ones that are coming up, which is a very
That's a good
interesting
system.
theory, right?
Yeah, that's a
Very
good
interesting.
system. Yeah.
Rather than forcing you to buy another one because we know you'll pay anyway. It's a very interesting thing they're doing there. But okay,
Hey,
so they
just one
also
thing,
go
real
ahead,
quick.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Speaking of BattleNet, did
hmm
you know that World of Warcraft, if you go monthly,
hmm
is $15 a month?
Oh yeah, bro. It is a expensive endeavor to this day. Yes,
And I
but
think
the
Warcraft
difference
has
though.
more subscribers
Uh huh.
than Game Pass at the moment.
Oh, for sure, but by leaps and bounds, bro. By leaps and bounds. Even
Now,
people keep talking about how Final Fantasy is the game du jour, but even at its low levels, Warcraft is now. It's still like considered one of the most subscribed to MMOs out there. But the one thing you must remember though is they let you in for free. So the first
only to level 20.
Exactly. So by the time they get you and they got you, then they expect you to pay. But by then, you're either hooked or you're off of it, right? So
It's
so it,
it's like
it is an
drugs. The first
interesting.
one is free. But
That's right.
I'm saying all of this
Welcome
to
Christopher Hart to the chat. Welcome Christopher Hart.
hey,
Thank you
what's
so much for
happening? What's
joining us.
happening? What's
Yes,
happening?
please continue, everyone.
So I'm saying all of this to say there's another service that's $15 a month.
Uh-huh.
And if this deal happens, do they say, hey, if you're a Warcraft subscriber, you're also a Game Pass subscriber?
Uh-huh. You see where you're going with it. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And
Yes, sir.
this would effectively give them, I mean, I know WoW players are a different breed, like that's kind of all
Sure,
they
but they're
do.
cross-pollinating right there. Yes.
But you could say, listen, instead of unsubbing between content drops, you have all this Game Pass stuff.
That's right. That's right. So
And
all
overnight,
the lackluster WoW numbers get filled in with Game Pass subscribers, and all of the Game Pass numbers that you want to see rise will overnight become monstrous because WoW subscribers will be fat
and
as
if
I
well.
you
don't know that they actually do that though. Did they do that with Fallout 76 or ESO? I don't recall them merging
Well, but that's
those two
different.
places in.
That's different because Fallout 76 and ESO were all under the Bethesda banner, and they have always been the ones that keep the community separate. They're serving different audiences, right? Obviously, because they are all your Western RPG, this Western RPG audience versus that Western RPG audience, which is all within Bethesda's purview. But if you're talking about Microsoft or Xbox gaming as a whole, fighting that fight and battling it out as far as, hey, where are the numbers? Where are the subscribers really at? It is in their best interest because they now have, the market leader also padding their numbers to
also just
to show us as big a number as they possibly can, and this is how they could do that.
to clarify though,
hmm
and I didn't know this, so I'm going by Pragmatic
hmm
Eagle and Beast
hmm
Mode's words here. So they're saying ESO isn't a monthly sub,
It's not, no.
and the base versions of Fallout
Fallout
and
and
Elder Scrolls
ESO are on Game
Online,
Pass.
right?
Yes. Yes, and
So
if you are a Game Pass subscriber,
Okay, thanks,
you can
Smoke.
get like deals on top of it because you're a Game Pass subscriber for going their topper higher tier subscription in Fallout 76 and or ESO. You get
So that
deals
ESO
on
Plus
top.
service.
Hmm.
See, I don't know. So they have an ESO sub service as well, though. That's
Yeah.
$15 a month. So
Yes.
that's a
Exactly.
separate service on
That's a
top
separate
of.
service, yes. And they've
Okay.
had that before Microsoft and Fallout 76 also had that. Well, Fallout 76's one was kind of right on the cusp of being purchased by Microsoft, but ESO's one's been around for a while, So they didn't really change much when Microsoft bought them. They just put the base version in Game Pass. So if you're not a hardcore player like that, you still get it as part of your Game Pass subscription.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought this was an interesting thing. Oh, and the last bit of news that I thought was kind of interesting to bring up with you gentlemen was it looks like they're them hinting at a possible battle royale, like a 24 player battle royale in this mode that's coming out here.
Well,
What do
did you?
y'all think?
Yeah. When you look at the screen, if you run that video back, there's
Uh-huh.
like a red barrier on that screen, and I think they've experimented with that closing barrier previously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that does look like some kind of battle
Yeah,
battle
they
mode.
said that. What is it, lone wolf thing or whatever? And
Yeah, the
and
lone
some
wolf. Yeah,
some of the imagery shows one on top and everybody else is at the bottom. Like they're doing that. Yeah, there's the red sea.
yeah, you
It's
see
called
that
the
thing.
lone wolf. It's kind of making me think they're going down the battle royale path. What do you guys think? I know you guys. Some of you are more campaign than you are multiplayer, but
some of us
Everborn.
would
What do you
mean
think?
me. But no, I think some version, not like a one for one, like me too pick me
Hmm.
battle royale, but if they can do something unique and give people that kind of play style,
Yeah.
I think that it'll do very well for the service, because that's what the kids are playing these days. But they need Forge, and not for me, I'm not like, oh, it's a fail because they don't have Forge, but
Hmm.
I think having the Forge out will
Hmm.
buy them a lot of time to release other things, because the community will be
Yeah.
creating the maps for you, right?
See,
The
and the
community
thing
will.
with Forge, you're absolutely right, Everborn. The thing with Forge this time around, from everything I've been listening to and the tea leaves, and shout out to Xbox Era. One of the co-founders of Xbox Era is a big Forge player to the point where he gets not
Yeah, he's testing it.
yeah, he gets to test beta versions of it and whatnot. They're biting off a lot more than they ever have with Forge this time around. They want to make it like almost its own platform, as it were, and it
Yeah,
goes
it's
further and
supposed to
further and
be
deeper than it's ever
a
been.
development tool on the
Yeah,
level of like something like Unreal, so you could actually like real building out of areas plus scripting
yeah.
the whole 9 yards. So it's going
So
to be a
it
big
looks,
thing.
yeah, exactly. So it sounds like they're going for the idea that yeah, we're delaying it and making people upset about the fact that it's delayed. But when you see what we have to offer you, it'll all be worth it in the end, kind of a thing. So we shall see where it goes.
I do
I'm looking.
one more thing about Halo.
Go ahead. Yes.
I know everybody's talking about the player count and this, that, and the
Good
third.
morning, Mr. Double Barrel Gaming himself, Mr. Boomstick
Hey,
Excel. Welcome,
All
welcome,
right, boom.
Cybernox. Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, you were saying, everyone.
and I get it. I get the frustration. I see the numbers, and there's not a
Mm,
lot of reason to play right now, because even though the loop is so good, it's missing the content that people want who play these things. I get that. All of that is
Mhm.
valid criticism,
yep.
right? But where I start to raise the eyebrow is
Hmm.
when they say it's dead forever and can't come back. How many times does Halo have to be dead and then come back and shock the world
Well, let's
Oh,
be
that's
real.
so
It's not
people
even
get to
dead.
do their
It's
good
not even
stuff?
dead now. It's not dead. I mean, you
well, but
Right?
that's
And
also that's
that's
a
the other
funny
thing.
narrative because even
People,
when this issue was when all this stuff was announced, I saw even then in my Twitter mentions, hey, who wants to get down? And already people were making plans to jump back into Halo. So who's saying it's dead? Like you see a trailer and people are already making plans to jump back in.
this is what I'm saying. Every
yo,
time,
hold on. I'm sorry. Can I pause you for 1 second?
yeah.
Please.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Double barrel. It's Barry White.
Oh yeah, let me see it. Let's pop it up for the chat for those who haven't seen it. Oh, hold on, where'd it go? There we go. Mr. Double Barrel Gaming is in here going, is that Barry White or Pixel Bitch? Well done, sir. Well done.
I'm
You've
sorry, guys.
derailed my show this morning, sir. Good job.
No, but
Go ahead, everyone.
this is the thing. How many times does Halo have to come back and shock
Surprise
everybody,
you. Yeah,
right? So
you know.
again, like as soon as they do another campaign DLC,
Mhm.
all of those millions of people will be right back. You know
We'll be
why?
right back.
Because
Of course
Halo.
they will. Of
And
course
so
they
all
will.
they
Of
have
course
to
they
do
will.
is have the content ready, and once they can sort of streamline their output, and I tend to think if once the Activision deal closes, they'll have. One would hope that they'll have more help in
Mhm.
terms of releasing new content and modes and things like that. So I wouldn't be worried
Yeah.
about Halo, and I just think for this, if this is supposed to be a 10-year game, we're going to be in a 10-year circle jerk of Halo is dead and Halo's the greatest thing ever. And I'm
You
just
know
like,
it.
I'm so tired of it. But
You
anyway,
know it.
Halo's been dead since Halo 2, and yet here we are, right? 20 years of Halo, and there's going to be
20
a 20
years,
more.
20 million
It's not
players.
going anywhere. Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
not going anywhere. And I
Oh,
mean,
oh, I'm sorry. Please, Pixel, go ahead. Finish.
no, I was going to just say, I mean, if you want to figure out if there's a problem with Halo's player base, log in on console, play a game, and see how long it takes for you to start a match. That will
Mm,
tell you if a game is dead or not. It does not
true,
take long.
true.
But the game is not dead.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And while we are in the Halo
Hey,
space, I will real quickly. Oh, Everborn, you were saying?
no. I just want to quote, Master Chief himself, not Steve Downs.
Uh huh.
Steve Downs is still the Master Chief,
Uh-huh.
but Master Chief of the Silver Universe.
Uh-huh. See, I was going there too, so good job. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, Wait, let me find the quote here. But he basically
Well,
says he wishes that the Halo community wasn't so divided. That
so
he
yeah,
wishes
yeah,
there was
that's
more
right.
unity in the Halo community.
That's
And
right.
I'm
That's right.
sorry, he's right.
He's absolutely right. And that's where I was going to go real quick. And we will
Never have
move
I
on.
seen a bunch of
We will move on from
whining.
this conversation.
Okay, here's the quote.
Uh-huh.
Somebody in his own mentions
Yep. Says,
was
put on a helmet, man.
right, and he says, "I think we both know by this point that's not going to happen, but
Uh-huh.
I will certainly use it when necessary, like actual Spartans do." I'm
Yep.
editorializing that part, but he says
Mm-hmm.
also, screaming never helps, man. It only serves to alienate people and make you look more frustrated, which is another way of saying, shut your ass up.
Hey, PG-13, sir. You get only one of those today.
I'm just saying, man. Stop crying.
I did see that tweet. I did see that response, and that was a very good response on his part. So it's good that you bring up the Halo show real quick. I will say I was disappointed in episode one. I'm not episode one. I thought episode one was intriguing. Episode two disappointed me a bit. I'm back in with episode three. Let's move on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm messing with it too. So
I'm back in. It's all good. Let's do it.
Do you keep those hints of evil Cortana?
Oh, stop talking. Stop talking. We're not on the reel right now. Stop with the spoiler talk. I am there. It's amazing. Let's do this. It's amazing. Where they are going is unlike the books. Unlike, well, more books than it is the game.
Yeah,
And I
there's
wasn't
a
sure
lot
how
more
far they
in
were
there than you
going.
think it is. I mean, yeah, we need to
Yeah.
address it. Yeah, but it's
Maybe we will on the reel at some point soon if somebody
It's
chooses to
Halo.
want
It's
to
a
have that
video game
conversation.
related thing. I think we could talk about it, but
Okay, fine.
Okay, Pixel, go ahead, talk about it.
Go ahead, talk about it. Go
look at
ahead.
him trying to extend the show.
See, I'm trying to keep it 2 hours, man. Go ahead. Go ahead. We
So
have a little. We're still on time. Go ahead.
there are some issues with this episode, obviously. There's some,
Obviously.
I don't know why the
The
UNSC
interface,
would stop for
Pixel,
a
the
covenant ship,
interface.
but
Yeah, the interface is a problem.
interface that some
Yeah.
people want to complain about
Uh-huh.
actually kind of makes sense in the context of the show, and I think makes it more interesting for Cortana and Chief's relationship.
I
Right?
completely agree.
More
100%.
so than in the games, where she's kind of just some USB drive that you plug into his helmet, right?
Yep.
Making
Completely agree.
Anyone could take it
an
anytime.
entity, right? Making her
Yep.
an entity that's living in his head kind of makes it kind of deeper. And I'm like, yo,
Yep.
I think they might have beat the game on that one. I like it.
Yes.
So
You see, this is an instance where when they make a different choice for a different medium and it makes sense, we can applaud it. I've had some issues with some of the changes they've made because it seemed for change's sake rather than for actual, thought process, logical reasons. This change makes perfect sense to me. It's a great, and it's better to visualize. They don't have an established world of AIs. She is the first, if you
she's the
will. Like,
first, exactly. Yep.
it all makes perfect sense to me. Now, they
I
yada
have
yada
one
along
issue.
the process of turning her on a little bit. I thought that was a little bit yada
I
yada,
have
but
one small issue with it
go
though.
ahead, Everborn. Yes.
How can other people see her? Like, what is she being projected from?
See,
I
this is what I was saying. I was just about
That's
to
a
say
good
they
one.
yada yada that part a little bit because
But
Halsey explained it, but she didn't explain it. She explained it with jargon that then allowed it to say, well, she's allowed to project herself wherever she is, right?
from
But
what? What is
from
she
from
his
being
pores,
inside
projected?
him,
she's gobbledygooking from his pores.
from inside him,
Go with
Yeah,
it.
yes,
that to me doesn't make sense. I always
It
pictured that
doesn't.
Chief,
It
when
doesn't.
she appears, Chief is seeing her through the visor of the
yeah,
helmet,
exactly. There you
right? But
go.
no one
There you
else is
go.
seeing her. Other people can hear her through their comms
Uh
because she's a digital construct, so she can speak through comms. But
Uh-huh.
unless there's some kind of 3D
Projection
projector
tag, yeah.
and maybe it is,
They have
maybe it's all over
projectors,
reach
yeah.
indoors. But if she
huh.
comes out outside somewhere that is
We got a
not
problem.
inside of headquarters, I'm
Uh
gonna
huh.
be upset.
But
Why would you
but
be upset?
hold on.
They spent the whole episode pulling out a pellet from the back of his spine, which
Master
controls
Chief
his.
stakeholder.
Yes, well, listen carefully. Which controls his emotions. If you will buy that they put a pellet in his body that then is able to control his emotions, and now he's removed it,
No, you're
why
using
will you not
verisimilitude,
buy?
man.
Why will you
What
not
is she?
buy that somewhere within this man is hardware capable of projecting a hologram out wherever
I can't.
necessary?
That's too far.
It's a bit too
It's too
far.
far. Just like that train from episode 2. Certain
Oh
I
things
man.
think
like I'm
the
riding
second
with you for most of it,
the
Hmm.
but
second time
certain
I
things
see
I
the
cannot
train,
abide.
I think I kind of like the train. I'm sorry. I kind of like having the
Would you ride
asteroids
it though?
tethered together.
But
I'm
would you
not
ride it?
riding none of that. No, I'm not doing any of that. But I do like the concept. I think one thing that we should note though is the way that they digitized her, right?
Yes,
Is
yes.
actually it looks like the Forerunner project to digitize not the Guardians. What's the enemies that everybody hates in Halos that we fought in Halo 4 and 5?
Oh, the
Prometheus?
Prometheans.
The Prometheans, yeah.
Hmm.
Didn't it look like that process? If you
It
notice,
kind
they
of
use like
does.
the
Yes.
same
Yep.
orange
But
digitization look when it
remember,
moved the ring. So
remember,
that was
this is
interesting.
all of this stuff is Kiki Wolfkill. All of the Easter eggs, all of the Halo sounds, all of the every time you hear a little
But
bit
they
thing that
didn't pay
reminds you of the
attention to the
game.
games, K. Asante. Didn't you know?
There's been, and since that kerfluffle with that statement, Kiki has come out in various forms to kind of let people know, whoa, misspoke. I was there from day one. I told them what to do. I just told them
Yeah,
everything.
well,
So it's all Kiki
who,
right
who
there.
are having that complaint, if they're paying attention, they should definitely
Yeah. Oh
see
yeah.
that. Yeah, they're using some elements from the game because that
Yes.
that that digitization process was exactly the digitization process they used in
Yeah.
Halo 4, just on a smaller scale. So I thought that
I
was a nice
find it.
touch.
I find it interesting that they let Cortana be full scale all the time. I thought they'd make her small and put her on surfaces, but I find it interesting. We shall see. We shall see. I'm there for it. I can't wait for the next episode. I'm quite
Yeah,
excited.
I'm
So
intrigued.
that is
Yeah.
your small block of on the reel in the Gaming Circle podcast. Keep an eye on Mr. Everborn Saga's Twitter for more because we will be doing more. I suspect after he and I both go and see Sonic 2 today at some point. And I see you, Splendiferous. Good morning, good sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us move swiftly along before we get to the main topic of discussion. I think I wanted to have a quick chat about Remedy and why they seem to have like a billion different teams. What's going down? Okay, the latest and greatest, and you guys can help me fill in the gaps here, and chat, please help me as well. Every couple of months, we hear Remedy has signed a new deal with a different team to do something new. The latest iteration, they are remaking, not remastering, remaking Rockstar Games Max Payne 1 and 2. I don't know if you gentlemen have been paying attention to this news,
Yes,
and
we
if
have, and
so, what is
Yes,
your
big
thoughts,
deal.
Miss?
for it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Everborn. You first.
No,
What
I
are your
said I'm
thoughts?
all the way here for it. Like,
Okay.
I don't know how much they've been able to expand, but
Uh huh.
between Alan Wake and
Uh huh.
now this,
Uh huh.
let's just hope they're not doing anything else with Smilegate. That's all I'm saying.
I was about to say, shall we bring up the Smilegate elephant in the room, good sir?
No, let's
Because
act like it
they
never happened.
did, because they did make a game that you can now finally play on Game Pass, and you can actually go and play the campaign. The question is, should you? The answer is probably not. It's very weird and shaky and not understand. And to my understanding, it's the Northlight engine. It's all Remedy. It's obviously a half-assed output from them. Clearly a paycheck situation, but still, does this give you pause for future announcements that hey, now we're doing this, hey, now we're doing that? Are we going to see the A team, B team? Is that a question in your mind after
No,
seeing?
it's not, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because this is not a first-person shooter multiplayer game, right? And I know they only
Mm-hmm.
did the campaign piece of it, but Remedy has never done a first-person shooter before, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have, it wasn't good because none of us remember it. So when they're going back to their roots, the sort of third-person narrative-driven, and there's very good gunplay in Control. So and they're really good on atmosphere and things like that. So, and I'm just waiting, since they're doing all of these deals. Can they do a deal to bring back Quantum Break? But anyway,
For real.
That would only happen if Microsoft is down, but that's neither here nor there. Continue.
listen, it's get money season at Microsoft, right?
Indeed, it is.
They're
Indeed,
just
it is.
greenlighting things. They need it in the service. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say, and listen, I honestly, I wouldn't put it past them, although I don't know if they've ever had a relationship with Microsoft that worked out, but they just keep working together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I think Max Payne and Alan Wake are actually their core competencies. So I'm excited about it. Whereas my red flag isn't, they just did Crossfire. The red flag
Mm-hmm.
happened before, when it was like, why the hell are they doing that? Why are they doing Crossfire? You know what I mean?
And Victor Allenstein's in the chat. Thank you, sir. First off, I disagree with you, good sir. He's disappointed in the show, in the Halo show, and he says Kiki Wolfkill's involvement is not helping. If you want exactly the
I
same
will
story that
fight
you're
you,
aware of,
sir.
hold on. If you want the same story that you're aware of, they have a thing called the games that you can play. This is a different rendition, and I think she's going pretty good in a very unique location
But listen,
with it. And
let's be
secondly,
clear.
he says they did Crossfire X, Everboard.
No, but so Victor, there are issues with the show. I think that the
Of
production
course.
value has been very disjointed for my
Yeah, they
liking.
spend too much in one place and not enough in another
Yeah,
place.
but the
I
third
do see
episode
that.
felt like it filmed better than me.
Yes.
But
True, I agree. I agree.
And really, I think like episode 1 was good. I had small gripes. Episode 2 was like in the dumpster in terms of production
Yeah, I wasn't a
value.
fan. I wasn't a fan.
And episode 3, I feel like they redeemed themselves. And a lot of what we've seen in the trailers were just from episodes 1 and 2. So I just think what they're setting up is interesting, right? Like the idea between like Keys and Halsey and their kid.
Yep.
And or sorry, Kay Asante, you know what that's about. Don't think we forgot about you and that.
and for that quick moment, I'll be like,
come on, it's
all right.
Keys. Anyway, no, and then what they're doing with Halsey's boss, which I can't remember her name, but she's a very interesting.
Yeah, she's an amazing character. Great character. Yes.
And between that and what's going on with Bokeem Woodbine, I hope they just need to not show that arm. I hope he like loses that arm altogether because it's so stupid.
But his character, I love the lines that they're giving him though.
He's a little psychotic, it's great. I like it.
No, all that's great, and he's performing it well. It's like he has the right level of camp, and he's doing a really good job. And what's going on in Madrigal, all that stuff, like they're not only like, oh, here's the chief every 5 seconds. So I think there's enough going on in the show to make it an interesting sprawling world that they're putting together. And I think overall, it's very good sci-fi and a very interesting story. If you're gonna get caught up on it's not exactly what you've
if you
heard
are a
before the
Halo
game.
stan and you're all about Halo, and it needs to hit the Halo beats, you're gonna be disappointed. You need
Well, no,
to
I
you need to
disagree.
understand.
I disagree with that. I disagree with
People who are sticklers for the certain points, you need to have no sacred cows in this game, because the thing that you think is the most important, they might dash, and that's fine, because the ultimate goal of it still points in the right direction, in my humble opinion. Go ahead, everybody.
So for me, I am a Halo stan. I always call myself the Halo apologist. Maybe I'm apologizing right now, but I do think I'm a student of storytelling, right? I tell stories myself. They're telling a decent story. Now, what my issue is, there's one thing to say I want it to be exactly like the games, and that's to me ridiculous, right? Because it's a different medium and you want to give people the leeway
90
to do
million
that
on a
stuff.
CW instead of a Marvel series, says Victor
I
Allenstein. For
see
those
it.
who are
No, sometimes it
for my
does feel
audio
like
listeners.
sometimes it feel worse than a CW show, right?
True.
But
Sometimes it does.
that being said, and if you want to see like high production value sci-fi, you can look at Westworld.
Yeah,
Right.
You're absolutely
And
right.
that's I will give you that. That's what the show should feel like in terms of production value, but it does not. And I don't know where that money went. Right. Because sometimes the CG doesn't look as good as some of the CG in the games.
Yeah,
Right.
Chael Walker's agreeing with most of y'all that it's a bit meh. We appreciate you for being here, Chael. It's good, but yeah, they
let me
got me
finish
in the
this thought.
bag. Like
Let me
I'm an
finish this thought.
apologist to the point where I'm still gonna enjoy watching this anyway. I want to see where their ultimate goal lies. Once they do that, either I think that some of its parts will be criticized or lauded later once we see the end of it.
Yeah, and so just the other point I want to add. The only reason I push back, because anybody's free to like or not like the show, but what I cannot abide is the people saying that this is not a part of the lore, and then they don't know the lore. The people that think
those are my
don't
favorite.
Please, you know what, Pixel? Please go ahead and explain what I'm talking about.
We're hijacking the remedy conversation, but like real quick, like those
Yeah,
are my
we're
favorite.
totally hijacking this conversation.
Every time I see somebody who says Miranda Keys is not Halsey's daughter, I'm like, bruh.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah, totally is.
Her daughter. So the minute I see that, everything you say after that means nothing to me. That means you don't know the story, and that's which fine, right? You have
that tells you they're pulling from the book more than they are from the game.
People are coming from the game world, which tells you very little story unless you are willing to do a lot of extra work in the game, right? As opposed to the people who read the books who know all the stories, right? Plus the games. For people who read the books, to me, they seem to understand what's going on a little bit more. They may be a bit more sticklers about certain things, but they also realize, like, okay, I understand why they're going this route, and I see hints of the book in here, and it's fine. To me, it's the people who only play the game who are more concerned, like with the helmet, helmet games.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Because you only play the game. You don't know
game players are far more sticklers to all of the what needs to be there and what's not there than the book readers are. You're absolutely right.
And they're sticklers for what needs to be there and less about the story, which is that's fine. But as somebody who's been a stand for Halo since the first one, right? Nah, I mean it's a good enough show. It's entertaining. So
you know what?
To me, that's the key. Am I being entertained when I watch the show?
Exactly.
Do I want to watch the next show? The answer is yes, because even like watching the Picard Star Wars it's campy too. There's like
a lot of camp, but I'm still there for it.
Season was like really, so it's just a reunion show. But as a fan of the series, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm kind of feeling this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to be cheesy. Like, it's just part of it. You know what I mean?
So you know what? I'm gonna pause this movie and TV talk and say, in the tradition of public shaming, we will continue to have our movie TV adjacent game talk block on the show, because Mr. Everbone Saga still refuses to bring on the reel back, so we don't have a a place to have our Halo TV talk. But that has been your Halo TV block talk for this week. Come back next week for when we talk about episode 3, unless maybe On the Reel comes back, which we'll leave it to Mr. Everborn Saga to tell us if that's the case or not.
But
Do you have any comments there, Everborn?
No comment. No comment at this time. From my office.
Mr. McGee, you were going to say? Finish up.
Yeah, just 2 seconds on the Remedy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty cool that they're bringing Max Payne back. Hopefully, it is a proper remake and not just an upgrade of the older games, right? Because those games, I've played them recently, especially the first one. It is really clunky, right? So whereas back in the days, that bullet time was like the most impressive thing we ever seen. Seeing it now, and even like just the character models and everything, the way it moves just doesn't feel good anymore.
Oh yeah, of course,
but
of course.
The concepts are great, right? Because if you go
You're
and play
absolutely right,
the third game, which is a little more modern, that game.
If you played that third game, even today, I played that third game as recently as a few months ago. It holds up so well. Graphically, it is beautiful. That bullet time, it is still great gameplay to this very day. And the actor who played him did such a great job. He's still around, Like that third one is very, very great. Like it's really good. So I look forward to them bringing the first and second to that third one's level at least.
And
that'd be awesome.
This is the signaling of Remedy making more of these story type games, right? Because they're really good at making a story driven game, and they're slow to make them. And I don't think they've gotten enough opportunities to make them. But I'm hoping that this just signals that they'll have more money to make new developments.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm just wondering, don't they have a deal? I thought they had a deal with Epic at some point. Please forgive me, correct me, Chad, if I'm mistaken. I thought they had a deal with Epic doing something. I thought they had a deal with Tencent doing something. They have a deal with 505 Games doing something. Like Remedy's out there. Like I wonder how many teams they got going and how they can keep all these balls juggling in the air, because we've seen what they did with Smilegate. I hope it doesn't turn into one of those. That's my only thing. When they're when they're firing on all cylinders, they're great. I still contend that Control has the best controls, quote unquote, but Quantum Break had the best story.
Yeah, Quantum Break's still a better game.
So I hope they come back to their glory.
Just about Quantum Break, and I really think they were onto something with this sort of transmedia game effect.
Oh, I highly agree. I do agree. Yes,
I would love to see someone try that again to some level of success, and I think Game Pass is the place to do that.
True.
I think had that game been released by Sony, it would have been a hit.
Yeah. Well, and of course it would have been a hit, most likely because Sony would have added a bit more cinematics to it, because the budget was a little bit weak.
They didn't need cinematics. I mean, Quantum Break had an entire like TV series behind it.
No, but that's my point. The TV series was not at the quality level of the game. The quality, the production level of the game.
Production quality, sure.
Yeah, it was a little weak, and that's what people kept clowning it a bit for. To your point, had Sony attached themselves to that project, I can see the quality level of the TV show like raising a bit, right? They even did a show that the story wasn't that great, but the Powers, they did a show. Their quality level, the production quality was top notch. It was great, very well.
Yeah. I watched it.
Yeah. Imagine that production quality with the story of Quantum Break in their TV show and all of that. I think that would have been a much better received product than what we got.
Yeah, Beast Mode is right. It was caught in the 2013-15 bad.
True. It was caught in that vacuum.
But the game itself, I see, it's a good game.
Yeah. So let's get to the topic at hand, okay? And we could keep talking, and there's a lot of conversation to be had here.
Time, sure.
Yeah, let's get to the topic at hand, because I want to talk about, and I think that's what the folks are here for. I want to talk about the Unreal Engine 5 official release, the 5.0 release, if you will, and all the stuff that came from that showcase. It was only 24 minutes, but it seems like they showed off a lot of interesting things. Did you, and I'll start with you, Pixel, did you happen to watch the 24-minute stream? And after that, Okay, and what are your takeaways? Okay, let's start from the top. What are your takeaways when you finish watching it? You, as a person, and for those who don't know, who are very well versed in the technology, very well versed in the development in development as a whole. So when you're looking at this stuff, you know what you're looking at. What were your takeaways from this conference and from Unreal 5 in general?
I thought it was a very well laid out conference. I mean, they showed. I mean, I'm surprised at the number of studios that have moved over to the platform.
And while
Um,
you speak on that, I can just go like, bam,
yeah, bam,
there you
right,
go.
and then the the tool set is very impressive. So
Uh-huh.
I've been slowly transitioning my skill sets into Unreal 4 and now moving it to 5.
Mhm.
And when I say slowly, I mean very slowly. But I am in the process of trying to work on some projects. And what they're showing when you compare like the UI of the two, 5 like is a huge leap, and
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
feels more user friendly. The way that they're presenting their libraries
Mhm.
is more cohesive. It basically is giving smaller developers a huge opportunity to make big games,
Yep.
right? And I mean their library is so massive now. The quick sell integration is a bigger deal than people. I mean, you can't imagine how big a deal that is, as well as where they were showing that a metahuman a couple of years ago, it was a cute idea, but now you
It's
see Unity.
revolutionary right now, man. It's
Yeah, now you
amazing.
see Unity has stepped up their game to come up with a similar matching solution, and it's like this thing is revolutionary. It's a big deal because now with Quixel and MetaHumans together, you can basically build a game without hiring artists.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right, like that's
Yeah.
a big deal for developers, and then they
No.
have a bunch of like
Bad deal for
pre-built
artists.
libraries. Yeah,
It is
well,
a
no, it's not a
no,
bad
because
deal for
they
artists
also build
because
a bunch of assets and they can put it
right,
on
those
marketplaces, right?
assets still wind up in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So if you're an artist, their marketplace is massive. You can supply art to the marketplace and get paid
Mhm.
for that art. So they're creating this development ecosystem of their own, right?
Yeah.
That is not only going to impact all the big boys, but it has a major impact on smaller developers. So,
I would
I mean,
actually
I think
say
it's
it's
awesome.
even a better. It's a boon for artists because now you're not beholden to one studio or one firm like paying for your services. You just build your art and put it on the marketplace, and a bunch of people can have access to it. With obvious copyrights and whatnot. As it's configured as they usually do per the store. But you don't have to be that starving artist looking for a studio to give you a chance anymore. You can just make your stuff and get paid day one. Like that's amazing.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I'm right there with you, Pixel. What do you think of it, Bon? I don't know if how much of it you got a chance to see and all of that. There was a
So
lot of conversation. Real quick, so that and I know people are talking about it in the chat, so I'll bring it up as well. The coalition showed off a lot of interesting stuff at the conference, which is what led to them releasing a small little, I think, like a 2 minute demo that they're showing. Which, by the way, the dude in that demo totally looks like the founder of Turn 10, but we're not going to speak on that. I said that, and he actually like eyeballed it and liked it like a couple weeks ago when that thing first came out. But I swear they modeled him. It looks like the dude from Turn 10, but that's neither here nor there. But yes, they showed that off. They announced that The Witcher CDPR, The Witcher. That's where they announced that The Witcher, that I would say The Witcher 4 would be on Unreal Engine 5. A lot of interesting, very, very cool nuggets of information came out of there. Mr. Everborn Saga, your thoughts?
so there's a lot to this. I saw the coalition demo, looked, amazing, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like the wizards of Unreal Engine, right? Some of the people there helped build it to begin
Mm-hmm.
with when they moved over
Mm-hmm.
from Epic to the coalition when after the purchase of Gears.
Yep.
So the thing is, there is I think it's amazing, right? Like I think it's especially for indie devs. Now I am a Unity guy, admittedly.
Mm-hmm.
And Unit, but because the games that I'm working on are smaller, And I don't know that is Unity even playing at the level that Unreal is in terms of AAA development.
Though,
No, not really. Oh,
yeah,
not really. No.
it looks like with this move,
But like every mobile game and more money is made in mobile, right?
because of you, yeah, is with Unity.
Is
But
like Unity, right?
if you
But
look at real quick, everyone, if you look at what this at this presentation, what Unreal is trying to do with 5, as far as tightening their tools, as far as the WYSIWYG of it all, rather than all the back end stuff that obviously is also at play in this engine as well. It looks like, yeah, yes, Victor Alistine, yes, Dan Greenwald is the man I'm talking about, 100%. It looks like Unreal is coming for Unity a little bit with the user friendliness and all of that. Although, let's be clear, as you're saying, Everborn, there is a niche that Unity has carved out for itself as a very lean, approachable engine for even mobile development. But based on what Unreal is doing here, at least from like Pixel was saying about the less of a need for asset driven development, less of a need for having what do you call it, designers and artists on the payroll. They're really trying to spur more. Hey, indie, try this tool instead of maybe your Unity. Like, it looks like they're going for them. Do you see that, Everborn?
yeah, no, and so that's like for what I think. So there's a few layers and levels to this. So, I
And
think
I'll play
that,
this in the background while
yeah,
we chat. Go ahead.
I think that they are. This is a boon for indie developers. I think that Unreal 5 is basically going to allow small teams of indie or not, but small teams to create what we look at today as a big budget AAA game.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Something that when it took hundreds or thousands of people to do, you could probably do with tens of people or less.
To your point,
right?
real quick. To your point,
Yes.
somebody literally took. And by the way, for those who aren't aware, the whole Matrix demo, they gave all the pieces of the Matrix demo as part of this Unreal 5 release. So you can literally download every piece of it, the entire city, every car, every fire hydrant, everything. And somebody already put a character in it, a generic character, put some flight on the man, and now there's a video of a Superman game that's being talked about on all the corners of Twitter. Somebody literally just took that exact city and made a game out of it. Imagine tweaking it a bit more.
It's the entire demo from the console. So
It's entire demo. That's right.
Yeah,
So they just put a
two
character
versions
in
of
it.
Yeah, there's
That's
two
right.
versions of it. So there's a large map and a small map of the demo. So you basically
Yeah.
if you load that level and run it in Unreal, it is the same. It is the same. The only thing it doesn't have is that the front end cinematic that was included with the consoles.
Mhm.
But other than that, yeah, it's the full demo, and I mean, it's impressive. But and probably something that we should talk about is after running it on a 3090.
Mhm.
When you look at this thing running on consoles, especially on the Series S,
Mhm.
it's even more impressive when you see what the assets are that take to make that level. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's how it scales. It seems like the coalition helping them was really necessary, because I have also run it on my 3080, and it is hungry, boy. It is hungry. So
Yeah,
imagine
even with
that running on the Series S.
500K CPU,
Uh-huh.
it's working. So they did a lot. So the coalition needs a lot of credit for even getting it to run on the lower end of console.
Indeed. You were going to say, Everborn.
Yeah. So like, what they're doing is great, and I think we are gonna be all the better for it, right? Because if you, like I said, when you think of the the Red Deads and the Horizons and all those other things, I think you're going to see that those kinds of games can be made by much smaller teams. And what is to be excited about is we know that the most innovation in gaming comes from independent devs with smaller budget, because there's less of a risk, again, because of their smaller budget, so they can take more chances. And what we usually see happen is great gameplay mechanics are born in indie games, and then smoothed out and ironed out by the big AAAs later on, right? It's like how dance moves begin in the hood, and then you'll
And then
see like
become mainstream
pop
later.
stars
Yes,
doing them, right? So, but anyway,
indeed.
I say all that to say that
Uh-huh.
part of it is great, and what we're gonna get is great from that. But I guess this is not a concern, but I guess something to think about.
I know what you're gonna say.
Everyone using the same engine.
And I
Yep.
want to
This was
get to
going
that
there. Yeah, this is going
conversation.
there.
That's
Yep.
where I want to go. When
Okay, tee it
90%
up,
of the
and then
environment.
I'll bring my point in. Just go ahead.
Yes. Well, okay. Let's have that quick. And this is great, and we're enjoying it. And the conversation is awesome around the fact that next gen is going to be absolutely fantastic, right? Because Unreal has really pushed the envelope and continues to push the envelope on realism and optimization of the various tools. It's able to really be scaled correctly, well as correctly
Hey,
as
are those
possible.
all Microsoft studios, or is that just
No,
everyone?
sir. That's not the Microsoft Studios.
Not yet.
These
Not yet.
these are the Microsoft Studios, good
Okay.
sir.
They're working
I was
on it.
waiting for you to
Don't worry
ask for
about it.
that.
They're
So there
working
you
on
go. There's that. So to the question of where we are right now, and welcome, Mr. Eternal Umbra. Thank you, sir, and Risky for the Biscuit, both of you. Thank you guys for checking us out. Always
Doovie.
appreciate you guys checking out, and Duvia also in the spot, of course. Thank you guys very much, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, I would ask that you please do so. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Let this episode be the one that gets us over to 500 subscribers. That'd be awesome. So thank you guys so much. But let's get back to this conversation. So what you're looking at on the screen right now, these are all of Microsoft Studios that are using Unreal Engine 5. Okay, and we know those that have been around a while that have been talking gaming know how many studios Microsoft potentially has now and will have after the ABK deal dries, right? So, and we're assuming it will. So when it does, they will have a lot of engines under their belt. We're talking like, all the various Bethesda engines that they have there, IdTech among others, right? And that's not including all the Turn 10 offerings that they have. There's a lot that they have under their belt that they could potentially use for moving and of course, yes, ABK also has a bunch of engines there, right? That's where you get into the COD engines and whatnot, right? So there's a lot there, not to mention Blizzard and all of that other stuff as well. But for some reason, Microsoft is like full bore. We're here for it. Unreal Engine 5, including because if you think
It's
about it,
got
which I
some
think is
reason though, right? Like
But
it
no,
makes
no.
it
You can
easier to
actually.
hire people
sure
using
it
the
does,
engine that everyone knows.
But here's the question though. How long do they go forward in this direction? For two reasons. Reason number one, we need some diversity in the environment, right? That's what we're talking about. If everybody uses exactly the same engine, you start to see that whenever you see explosions, they start to look the same because it's always the same. Unreal and Unreal 4, there are folks out there that can tell you Unreal 4, they can pull it out of a crowd because every game started using UE4, right? And a lot of the same things started repeating. And it looks like we're going down that path again, right? And secondly, people say it's such a great deal, and it is, but it's a great deal for indies until you turn AAA. But Microsoft has a lot of AAA development budget going on here, right? And that means that for them, Unreal is not that great a deal, even though it is a great deal as far as hiring
Well,
people.
let's look at two things. Go
Uh
back to
huh.
the prior slide.
Let's go to
So
Microsoft's one. Here you go.
let's look at the studios from Microsoft that are actually using it. Okay. Let's look
Mm-hmm.
at the age and the current scale of those studios prior to them joining Microsoft.
Okay.
Double Fine is a smaller studio, right?
True. Yeah, they've
They're
always
not
been
that
indie in
big,
nature.
right? They've always
Yes.
been indie in nature.
Yes.
Undead is a straight up indie studio.
Yep.
In
100%.
Exile is probably kind of in the middle, right? They make smaller projects, but
Well,
they're
but
not
In
big
Exile is
enough.
for the veterans, man. In Exile is
Yeah,
like,
they are
very
for the
veteran.
veterans,
Yeah.
but they've never been a we're gonna build our own thing kind of studio, right? So what you have here is a list of studios who were previously UE4's developers transitioning
True.
over to
Okay.
UE5. So
Okay.
you're not going to say, "Hey, Undead," who I'm a big time State of Decay fan. Don't come for me unless I send you, because I got bars for you if you got issues
He
with
said, "I
Undead,
got
right?"
bars for you."
So,
Uh-huh.
but we know that they're a smaller studio, that they have some issues in their pipeline related to to Unreal development in general. They're kind of young. You do not want to ask them to transition over to another engine, right? It just hold on
I
a
hear
second.
that
Sure.
surface ringing. I know
Oh,
that
come on,
Uh-huh.
man!
ringtone
Stop
when I
hating!
hear
Stop
it.
hating, son. You know what it is. I got my Surface 2 after you, but my son put my Surface 1 in a tub, so that was the end of that.
Oh
You got
wow,
the
that's
duo
that
too?
that's a story.
Huh?
You got the duo too?
Yeah, I got to do it too.
How you feel about it?
Love it. I
We'll
love it.
talk about
Yeah, we'll
that
talk
later.
about it. We'll talk about it. But yeah,
Bromance on here, real quick.
yeah.
Continue. Go ahead.
So you don't want, we can have that Tesla talk next. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have that.
There you go. I might be joining y'all on that talk soon enough. Let's keep it
As
moving. Go
long as
ahead.
you join the S
Hey,
crowd and not these little 3 crowd, and then we good.
Oh, this
So
man out here
yeah.
pocket watching.
nah.
Oh,
Blue
I just
screen, baby.
every boy know I love him. My car is just older. That's it.
go ahead.
But in terms of Undead, right?
Uh-huh.
You would that kind of studio transitioning over to IdTech or some other
Yep.
tech, because they're not familiar with it. So you're
hmm
basically gonna have to restart. Ninja Theory is another one they've used Unreal before, right? So it's like
Yeah.
what you're looking at is 9 of what does Microsoft have now? 23 studios. So you got 1/3 of their studios are using
hmm
Unreal
Yeah. Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if Activision joins, it'll be even less. It might not even be 1/4, right? So it's
True. True.
probably
True.
not that big of a hit on them to have these
hmm
studios doing it for now.
hmm
And as long as you have the coalition who is wizards at Unreal, right?
Yeah.
Who work in unison with
They're
Epic
they're
and
basically
add
Unreal
tools.
co-founders.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. They're basically part of the co-founding team, right? They
Yeah.
build tools that other developers use in Unreal that become part of the product. So
Yep.
they're like the best of the best. As long as you have a team like that in your group, why
hmm
wouldn't you leverage it, right? You don't want to
Exactly.
be in
Sure.
a situation where you're so far removed from. Because there's 2 things involved, right? There's one, having subject matter experts on your team who know a package. There's also being able to look at that package and say to your other studios, "Hey, this is how Unreal does this. How does your engine do it?"
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
You
Yep.
won't have a way to compare your engine to other engines if you just close yourself off. That's why, like we look at it now. Look what IdTech does, right? There's some things that they do in their engines is just unmatched by other
Oh
studios
yeah. I
currently,
mean,
right?
IdTech. You can run an IdTech game on a potato and you're getting 200 frames per second. It's insane. you know? It's absolutely insane what IdTech is
Right.
able to do with
Nothing,
hardware. Yeah.
like very few things scale the way it scales.
The way that IdTech does. Yeah. You're
The
absolutely
way
right.
IdTech scales, right?
Yep.
So and in terms of like its texture quality and the number of enemies that you can put on screen, and that thing will run from a small machine to 8K.
Oh yeah.
It's impressive. But what Unreal is doing now is improving the way that they stream in data, right?
hmm
But it's still, if you compare it, it's not exactly to the level of what it is doing at this point,
mm
right?
mm.
So I think there's still value in having some of your studios using proven.
Proven
So
technology. No, I understand. Go ahead. Go
here's the
ahead,
thing.
everyone.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I think and there was a great Twitter thread, and I apologize for not being able to remember the guy's name, but like if he's listening, which he's probably not, he talked about this and sort of it's long been said that the cheapest film to make is 2 people in front of a camera sitting at a diner or out at the park, whatever, right?
hmm
Because there's no lighting, there's no set design, there's nothing, right? You go there and you tell your story and that's it. And you don't worry about the environment. And I think that's what Unreal is going to do, sort of.
That's what they're
You're just going
trying
to
to do.
have
Yeah.
that cityscape there, and then you can tell a story. And the good part about that is, what if I want to tell a detective story that takes place, a noir detective story that takes place in a city.
Mm-hmm.
The city itself is not important, but what's going on within that city and how real that city feels is, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so they can provide that, but what I just don't want is that all this bespoke engines will basically be from the platform holders because they can afford it,
I agree
right?
with you. Yes, that's right.
And
Yeah.
then Unreal basically becomes the Chrome of game engines, Chrome browser
Oh,
of
brother,
game
brother, I
engines.
am with you. I
Mm.
am with you. You see me using Firefox right now. I am with you. Chromium being a monopoly is a problem in my mind that most people don't seem to care about. But yes,
Yeah,
that
and
that is a very apt comparison here because
and
Unreal is becoming is going that route at this point. Yes.
to that end, right? Web developers, because I like look, IE sucks, right? The old Edge, it sucked,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yes.
there was still some semblance of old school web standards,
Yep.
right? As
Yep.
opposed to Google just changing things whatever they want
Yep.
and not having to adhere to any sort of bodies that look at these things. And so I like you just don't want
And
one
now they're getting
company,
their cake and eating it too because everybody's on Google's
right?
Chromium.
And what
You know,
Even Edge.
what
Yeah.
even
happened,
Edge. That's right.
right? Web developers began to say, look, nobody's using Edge or Internet Explorer, so I'm not even going to optimize for that.
That's right.
Everyone just learns how to work in Chrome. And I
Yep.
feel like game developers are really just going to learn how to work in Unreal,
And Unreal, and
and
it
will we
makes
get
creativity. That's right.
right?
Yeah.
So we, not
It's
that Unreal isn't
mm,
great, but we will be limited by what Epic thinks is important to have in an engine.
Yeah, I think it's a real
Welcome to
fair.
2022. Right. This is the
Yeah.
world we live in, where either you're listening to Spotify or it's not music. You're watching Disney Plus, or it's not or it's not a subscription service. And now we're going into Unreal, or you're not using a game engine. They're all the nuance is being lost by the shaving off the corners. Which is unfortunate. Although I'm excited about where this is going, that is a concerning part of
But here's
everyone
the
going to
question though,
this
right?
engine.
I think it is a good. I mean, there's a real concern, right? And I agree
Mm.
with that. But what is preventing Microsoft or Sony from allowing other developers from using their engines? Is it can it be licensed?
Not now, but it can I mean, it has been licensed in the
It
past for
was
other
previously, right?
purposes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
but it's not able and available like the tools of today are, like Unreal and Unity are. You have to basically you got to know somebody to get access to it, and
Yeah.
then they customize it for their own purposes, right? Source
I think
Engine,
that
similarly,
the
you know.
platform holders would respond if they feel that Unreal is getting too powerful in the market. I think they're at like
Or they
forty
would
six
just,
percent.
by respond, do you mean just buy them?
No, I mean
Okay.
by by letting their engines be used elsewhere, because unlike prior generations where console makers made games that only ran on consoles and those
Hmm.
engines would be tailored for that console, those engines are now being tailored for both consoles and PCs.
Yep,
So
Right.
there's
true.
there's the only thing that's preventing them from releasing it to other people is making sure that it has a great UI and being able to monetize it.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm not sure that we're in a situation quite yet where it's like, if Epic ever gets to like we're at 70% of the market, that nobody would be able to respond. You see what I'm saying?
so right. So to your point about Sony and Microsoft, hell, maybe even Nintendo letting other people use their engines. I do think Microsoft, I think, would be most amenable to it,
Hmm.
but and I'm surprised. I
I
was
mean, they
always
have
surprised
PlayFab
that.
right
Well,
now with.
why wouldn't Sony be? Because Decima was used for by a
Well, but
non-Sony
think
studio
about it.
recently.
Well, but think
But
about it,
that was
guys.
still
You
on
you
a
have
Sony exclusive
Microsoft has
platform.
PlayFab.
That's true. That's
Microsoft.
true.
They have PlayFab, and they're doing Azure Cloud, and they're doing ID at Azure. They're doing that cloud streaming development where they're literally putting third-party tools in the cloud for the purposes of
Good point.
development, right?
Good
They
point.
could
Yeah.
easily, they have an offering right now that people pay for. They could easily add their own engine as an offering in their existing service, whereas Sony would have to gear up and turn their business model and add this as a new offering, whereas Microsoft would just add this in as to their existing offering
So
already.
I
Anyway, I'm
so
surprised they're not
I,
offering it as a turnkey solution. They've
I,
owned Havoc for how long? They've been offering it to people
Well,
forever.
yeah, exactly. Well, Havoc is being used in so many other engines at this point, right?
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
part of other engines. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think from Microsoft, I guess first of all, I was actually surprised that they hadn't acquired like Unity by now, only because they're very closely, Unity. I know people do stuff in JavaScript there, but like Unity is C#.
Yep.
Unity is
Yeah.
a lot of it is doing some things that Microsoft has been trying to do, and they're a software development company, and they offer software development suites and IDEs, like that's their part of their like lifeblood. I'm surprised them being in gaming that they don't have an engine that they're offering to people by now. Now the question is, would they offer something like standalone id Tech, or would they integrate some of the features of id Tech into DX12 Ultimate? Because I feel like that's more likely to happen first.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and they've been doing that right now, right? They've been very strategic in their, hey, use DirectX Ultimate because it is the industry standard. And by the way, don't pay attention to all the cool Xbox standard features we're adding into it to entice you to build Xbox games as well. That's what they've been doing for now, and I think that works for them. I think that works for them more than them well, it wouldn't be abandoning, but if they offered it as a bespoke service that anybody could just purchase, there's a world where people would purchase Microsoft product and not make an Xbox game. And I think they're trying to thread both needles. They want you to remember that they're a service, but they also want you to build an Xbox game while you're doing it as
I'm
well.
not entirely sure that part of Microsoft cares, right? Because that play fab isn't console specific, right?
It's not. But if you pay attention to it, a lot of the stuff that they're offering there, like it's almost like, and you're absolutely right. It's not that they care; it's that they don't have to anymore because they engineered the console to mimic the development platform so well that you as a developer don't have to spend too much time and energy on, oh, well, do I have to make a console or PC specific, or right? They've made their console part of the puzzle an afterthought, because you don't need to spend that much resources and time to make it work on there because they've followed lockstep with the development of the industry standard so well that an Xbox game is just part and parcel of what happens when you're developing on their platform.
It's just a PC game being.
That's right. It just kind of happens because you were building on.
Yeah.
That's the shrewd move they're making there because they know, like they've seen in this environment, PlayStation has garnered that loyalty. They have garnered that hey, it has to be, hey, we're here for greatness, PlayStation. Microsoft has not been able to garner that in the same respect, right? So they have to make it so piss poor easy that it's just turnkey to make one of their games. Otherwise, developers may not do so. And that's where they're heading in this path, to be like, hey, we just set this thing up so that making an Xbox game is, from a developer's perspective, relatively easy. So you do that, right? While you can just continue following your path as you normally do, using your tools as you normally do, because PlayStation is special in the market and they still are the leaders of the market, they get to go bespoke and you have to care, right? Whereas if Microsoft went bespoke, you wouldn't care. You'd be like, well, they lose out on my game. They're making very interesting decisions in that respect. My only thing is, it doesn't seem to me so far that it hasn't immediately translated into success, but it's turning their ship and the zeitgeist of what people think of them around. At least that's what I'm seeing so far, anyway.
So if a platform holder doesn't step up to challenge Unreal, who else could?
Well, I think it can only be the platform holders, and that to me is the shame. I would
and
love
here's
to
Dan
see
Greenwald,
the
by the
third-party
way.
publishers
See Dan Greenwald. There he is. I should back up. Like I am convinced they used Dan Greenwald, and I sent this to him, and he sent me a cheeky little smiley face on Twitter when I sent this to him. But man, that is Dan Greenwald. But okay, let's continue. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying. So my concern is not like I think it's only the platform holders that will have their own engines, but I don't know that benefits the entire industry. And I hope that we will continue to see custom engines from third party developers, because with like the CD Projekt Red thing, that was kind of an eye opener for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you hear the interview with CD Projekt Red as to why they switched? Because it was very interesting. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't. Tell me
So,
more.
so the broad strokes of it, and they go into further detail, but the broad strokes of it are there was a demo that Unreal did some months back, and literally the demo screamed to CD Projekt Red from
I was
like,
like,
"Hey,
yeah, they
look at
made
us."
this for us. I actually did see that.
For
You saw
Uncharted,
that,
right?
right?
Not Uncharted,
Yeah.
for what was it, Tomb Raider or something? That they did something that was very similar in style or something like that.
It was more like a demo of UE5. This is what we could potentially do, but it was very interesting to the point where it looked like they recreated like the Witcher's world, the Witcher Three's
Oh, right,
world
right. Yeah,
in a
that's what it
small
was. Yeah,
scene,
they
right? And
did.
you,
They showed it. They showed it.
that's
They
right,
made
that's right.
like the in front of a tavern, a
That's
Witcher
right, and
themed
they
style
even had one
tavern.
of those
Yeah,
those message boards that had hunters wanted and all this,
yeah,
literally beat
yeah.
for beat from inside like The Witcher 3. So CD Projekt Red guys said basically when they saw that, it kind of spurred them like, wow, this is what could possibly be happening. They're kind of literally like calling us out, that it would look really great on in the engine, and that's what got them. That's what got the ball rolling for them to just at least the preliminary conversation. Now, I cynically think that add to that the fact that what do you call it? That
Cyberpunk blew up in their
Cyberpunk
face.
did not has not been the best showcase as of late, and even with the great updates that they've made, and let's be clear, there have been some great patches seen in the last couple of weeks to really make that game shine. So if you haven't tried it out, you should definitely should. But at the end of the day, you'll never get a second chance to make a first impression, and that game has just been kind of thrown out. So unfortunately, I think this might lead to them abandoning the Red Engine and heading directly towards Unreal because hey, a lot of the studio has left because of Cyberpunk and all of the turmoil and all of that. So getting Unreal familiar developers is probably a better way to restaff up within their ranks. And
So
they're building an
in
Unreal
their
5 game.
announcement, they announced basically two major developers abandoning their own engines to move to Unreal, right?
To move to Unreal. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So the
So
first two
yeah,
dominoes fall.
exactly. So that's why I really wanted to have you guys have this conversation with me because as excited as we are for Unreal and the realism and all of that, and it looks like it's going to be absolutely fantastic, no doubt about it. But are we worried? Is there a concern that we come to a world where Unreal becomes the
I
de
don't
facto engine?
I don't think it's a thing to be concerned about, because the
Okay.
idea is it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And but the idea that they will take the technology hurdles out of the way for you so that you
Mm-hmm.
can be creative,
Yep.
that's important. And I hope that there's enough in there so that every game doesn't feel the same.
True,
And
true,
that's
and we will
really
and we will definitely
what the
see.
concern is going
We're
to
going to
be.
start seeing what happens there because Unreal has always been a very, very customizable engine. So there are folks that can really make it
Yeah,
shine in a
and that
different way.
hasn't changed. I mean, even them
Yeah.
adding their own animation engine, them adding um, a metahuman user, character creation, all that
Hmm.
stuff,
Oh, and
doesn't mean
let's
you
have a
can't import. It's still
let's
a
have a quick
very
conversation about that metahuman. As three black people sitting on this panel having this conversation, man, have they leveled up in the human creation in that engine?
the
Man, it's
the
amazing.
the sheer texture capabilities of that engine are very impressive. Like you can straight up see some naps. So I mean, they're doing
Right?
something.
It's amazing. It is seriously next level stuff. And shout out to I haven't seen him in the chat today, but shout out to Slow Mo Backslap.
Yeah, slow
He's
mo.
always
Yeah,
on that, right? He's always talking about that. He did a good little essay about hair in games. This is well on its way to resolving that, right? So now, after this is officially released, if I see you acting up Square Enix, I'm allowed to call you out. Like, there's no excuse now. I'm sorry, but I keep calling them out publicly because they just do not have the time
yeah, yeah.
or the
No,
willingness.
I agree. Yeah, there should. I mean, there's even I mean, the marketplace even has um hair textures that you can
That's
download.
right.
There was I think it was on Twitter. Some black females artists who have developed their like hair textures
That's right.
that were
That's
like
right.
really dope, like all different styles.
Hmm.
So I mean, the engine is still very open. I mean, that's probably the it's
That is
one
the
saving
plus of all
grace,
of this.
right? Is
Yes.
that
That's yes.
you can plug in from all of the design tools into this engine, so you're still going to get those, different styles and different ways of doing things from other packages, just homogenize into a single system. So I think that's still
Yeah.
good.
So yes, Cologne is in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. He's asking, has anyone considered the fact that while Unreal Engine 5 is improving the general population, wouldn't that cause some competition for other engine holders? See, what I am seeing, which is a beneficial to the industry, is as they are showing, they're showing the metahumans, as Pixelbit was pointing out. They showed their metahuman demo for a while, and now you see Unity also stepping their game up. There
Yeah,
is a
with a
concern.
character creation that's actually better looking than metahumans.
The metahumans,
Fast.
that's right. There is a concern that it's all heading in one direction, but it's also good when one shows you in the next level and the competitor goes, "Oh yeah," and then starts upping the ante. So at least that is still flourishing. So there is, Unreal. What do you call it? Unity for their part is not going quietly into the night, right? They're fighting back, and it looks like they're ready for it. So hopefully this obviously means more benefits to us as gamers seeing some real next level stuff. Now, what I want to see is then it starts getting into that world of smart development, of offloading resources and all that stuff that the consoles are capable of doing, but no one's using right now. Right? I want to see Little Man get his last laugh because so far that hasn't happened yet because no one's really been using those tools at hand. And Unreal falls really well in line with DirectX Ultimate, as does all the AMD tools. So we're literally slow walking towards that future. It's just I want to see that sooner. Pixel, do you have any thoughts on Unreal Engine 5 and its use case for less capable hardware?
Um, well, I mean, this this demo shows the way it scales, it does get a lot out of weaker hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like you said, I mean, you've run the demo, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I've
Mm-hmm.
run it.
Yep.
I've compared it on to the Series S version of the demo, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really not that far off, which
It's
is
really
crazy.
not. Yep.
Like there are some like artifacting issues that you see on all of the console versions of this demo, where like
Yeah.
when you rotate the character, you see like this like edge detail
A
that
bit of
happens.
blurriness on the
Yeah,
edge
it's a
detail
blur
because
on
of
the edge, right?
because of
Um,
the what do you call it? Because it's doing the checkerboarding and all of that, so you can definitely see it when you start moving it quickly. Yeah.
Right, and I saw the same on Horizon. Like anytime she's in front of like water bodies, right? So it's
Yep.
it's something that's known in these engines, I guess, that are like
Yep.
using special techniques to create crispness for the character. But when you compare it, it's like visually you don't see a major hit in
Yeah.
quality, and that's a
Yeah.
big deal. So I mean, and
Absolutely
that
right.
may be why some other developers are kind of bowing out because it's like, hey, like how do I compare? How do I compete with that?
How do you
Right.
compete in this market? That's right. That's
Right.
right.
How do you
And,
compete in
and you
this
know
market with
what?
that? Right.
Before we and we're rounding the bottom of the episode, but before we do, let's make a quick mention to the fact that Crystal Dynamic, who's on the screen right now, happened to mention that they have a new Tomb Raider game in the works, also
Yes,
exclusively
they
Unreal
do.
5.
I want
Yes,
to
they do.
ask.
Here we go. Go ahead, Mr. Everboard Saga.
What does that mean for acquisition dreams of Crystal Dynamics? Does that mean they've worked things out with their
I don't think that means anything. Like, it really
Well,
doesn't mean anything.
well, well, Crystal had well. There's two ways to
Because
look at it, right?
in addition to them coming out and saying that they're working on an Unreal 5 game, there's also other news which I wasn't going to bring up, but it is pertinent to this discussion that the head of studio, after Square had thrown them under the bus for the umpteenth time, saying that Guardians didn't meet the expectations, they basically said, well, we left it all in the field and we have no regrets. They said in public against their own employer. So they're still back and forth over there. You know what I'm saying? It's not as, oh, they've
Well,
sorted it out and now they have a new budget and they're doing. I don't think this means anything different for future plans potentials at all. This could still turn out to be that, somebody buys them and takes the IP with them. You never
well,
know.
there's two things, right? I mean, one is the initiative project that they're working on is also
Uh-huh.
using UE5.
Yes,
So
yes.
you're kind of aligning your team to use a single platform there.
Hmm.
And then the other strange thing is um, on Square side, that
Hmm.
means Square is abandoning their engine, right? Because it's not just Crystal making that decision, and
True.
somebody has to
Oh,
pay for the
and,
entire
and, and
development of
forgive
these
me, I don't
engines.
mean to cut you, but Big Mad Mo is absolutely correct. Avengers is Crystal, and Eidos is
Guardians.
Guardians.
Okay.
Yes, but they're still, we lump them in because they're basically, the two hands of the various studio arms. But yes, yes, good point. I appreciate the clarity. But continue, Pixel. I apologize. Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
But yeah, so I mean, there's there may be some questions about Square's plans going forward because
Hmm.
they're also abandoning an engine. Right? That's
That's
their
right.
engine. So
That's right.
because
who's
there's a
using
lot
it
of
if they're not using it?
time and resources and money spent developing and maintaining these engines. And if
Hmm.
Right.
someone else is going to do it for you and has worked out those things and they're generally doing it to better or to more positive results,
Hmm.
these companies are just trying to save some money.
Yeah, but remember, we're also talking about Square, and as much as they're saving on development, as far as getting
They're
the
also saving
content
money by
made,
not paying their devs, but that's another
yeah,
story.
that's another conversation. As much as they're saving their money by not spending it on development, they end up paying for it because these games always tend to be AAA games, and once you hit a certain threshold, which you will easily hit as a Square game,
But
or as
but
then
I'm
you're paying,
sure I'm
revenue
sure
to.
there are
Uh-huh.
bean counters that say, "Hey, what am I paying Epic versus what I'd have to pay
Pay
people
for
with the
the
expertise
various
for like the whole
developers and all of
engine
that. That's right.
team,
Yep, yep, yep,
right?"
yep, yep. Hmm.
Because a
So
lot of these
ultimately, it works out for them.
these guys, they have separate teams that just do the engines,
Yep.
the proprietary engines. So
True.
you
Very
don't
true.
really have to have those people, or you can have them focus on other things
Hmm.
when you use Unreal. So it
Yeah, the
is,
problem
I
is though,
think
once you lose those engine developers, they're not coming back.
they're
So
definitely not.
True.
it's a one
Very
shot
true.
deal. Once they move on to another project, they're not coming back. So it's
So
interesting.
I still think it's a very exciting time. I think that with the advent with Unreal 5 being officially out there, and it's very suspicious that before this official announcement, a bunch of the Unreal 5 games had been delayed. They didn't really speak on that, but now it's officially out there. We shall see which official first Unreal 5 game comes out. And I mean, like the first big Unreal 5 game that has no ties to, let's say, last gen. Because I think Unreal 5 still runs on old school hardware as well. So, we want that first serious Unreal 5 game that does not have any beholden to Jaguar cores. It should be interesting to see. But, but, it is now literally 1 hour and 59 seconds of this show. Mr. Everborn Saga challenged me that I could not get this show underneath how we were last week, which was what, 2 hours and 30 minutes? We're at 2 hours now. So
32,
we're
but
about
who's counting?
huh?
2 hours and 32 minutes, but
And
who's counting?
32. Okay, we're about to close the show now because I am going to make sure I beat this man at this game, and we're very close. We're going to hit 2 hours, but we're still going to get there. And I will end this by first off thanking Mr. Pixelbit G for joining us once again. If it's Halo talk, if it's tech talk, if it's gaming in general, the man is always about his game, and he's out here not taking any crap from anybody on the Twitter streets. And if you're not following him, you should follow him because he keeps your Twitter timeline interesting. Mr. Pixelbit G, thank you for being here. Tell the fine folks where they can keep up with your ongoings this week and where they can keep up with your exploits as you virtually smack fools left and right for not knowing what they should know. Go ahead, man.
Thank you. As always, Everborn and Asante for bringing me on. I love talking with you guys about tech, Halo, and everything else, as well as enjoy all the slander that we put out here in these streets. You can find me on Twitter under Pixel the OGD. I do not have a podcast or anything like that. I just show up on this show every now and again, but always happy to have a conversation here or on Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I get to my other co-host this week, I will say once again, thank you so much to all of the heavy hitters that always seem to populate our chats. I'm talking about Pragmatic Eagle. I'm talking about Doovie. I'm talking about some newcomers. We got Soul Khan in here. Thank you so much for checking us out. Eternal Umber, my man. Thank you so much. Cologne and just so many people. Beast Mode 10. It's always great. It's always great to have y'all in here. Y'all keep the conversation lively. You keep the show moving. Mr. Everborn Saga, are you ever going to play anything other than Elden Ring? Or have you become just the Elden Ring master?
I don't know. That depends.
And that's
when
all
is
you're going to be playing?
Going to stop cheating.
Tell us where we can find you. Tell us about when we're going to get our books. Tell us about the everbornsaga.com, please.
Well, I mean, you said it all right there. We are sending out, if you filled out your survey that provides your address or whatever, your books will be going out today within the next 24 hours. If you did not get into the Kickstarter, you can go to everbornsaga.com right now and you can buy the Redlands, and you can get Ariel's Adventure and Prince of Arcadia 1 through 4. All those things are available, and there'll be another announcement coming soon. But go to Kickstarter now if you didn't fill out your survey, because we're shipping everything out today. So everbornsaga.com, and On the Reel will come back at some point after I've seen Sonic 2. Which is hopefully later today. So
yeah, me too. I'm gonna watch it.
Stay safe and know what the hell you're talking about before you say a show is not keeping up with the damn lore.
Oh, there we go. So yes. Way to end it. Thank you. But yes, again, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Expect this to post on your favorite podcast services. I try to do it as early in the week as possible. Sometimes YouTube has other ideas, but we do the best we can. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Please tell your friends about it. Subscribe to the show. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Oh, I see Erodimus saying, "Oh wait, we're still live for a few more minutes." What you got to say, brother? Thank you so much, everybody who joins us every week. For the folks who happen to catch us in the car. Oh yeah, of course, Erodimus is here too. Yes, thank you so much, Erodimus. Who catch us in the car, who's out here. We're trying to keep it PG-13 for y'all. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys continuing to follow us and support us and all the things we do. But for myself, from Mr. Pixelbit G, the OG, from Mr. Everborn Saga, we thank you so much for watching the show, for listening to the show, for continuing the support. And we will see you guys again next week. Have a good weekend, y'all.
Enjoy y'all. Peace.